This is how you can buy your first rental property in a couple easy steps for the average person. There's a lot of videos out there where they talk about how to buy your first rental property, how to do this, how to buy real estate, how to do blah, blah, blah. But it's a lot of jargon. It's a lot of hard words to understand for the average person. I brought my fiance today, so we're going to make it very simple. She's not in finance. She's actually about to start working as a speech language pathologist. That's her career. Her name's Vanessa.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm going to explain it in this short video. I'll try to do it in 10 minutes. How to buy your first rental property. We're using some expert advice. We did a lot of research, and actually me and her want to do that once we get married, is get our first rental property. So we're going to tell you how we're going to do it and how you can do it too. So it's pretty easy steps. I think the most important thing when you're thinking of buying real estate, just anything in general, buying a car, buying anything, and you're going to do such a huge jump of, purchasing something big like that, because a car, it's $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. When we talk about a house, we're in California, we're talking about close to $1 million. $1 million. Growing up as a kid, when I thought of $1 million, I thought of a mansion. I thought Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah, huge mansion.
Yeah,
Now it's like a little house.
Like a house at the movie theater, a house with like a spa, like all these crazy things. But now it's just like, just a house in the corner right there with, a couple homeless, as your neighbors.
The broken windows.
Yeah, it's a turnkey ready, kind of. But yeah, so let's talk about how to buy it. What's the first thing? The most important thing is going to be you have to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Buying a house is not easy. But most importantly, are you ready to buy a house? Are you ready? Are you financially ready? The number one step I think that most people don't realize is having an emergency fund. It sounds simple. Do you know what that is, having an emergency fund?
Having money allocated for emergencies?
Yes. Do you know how much months you should have saved?
6 months.
Yes. So the recommended is 6 months. So basically what that means is if you pay rent, if you have a car loan, if you have all your expenses, what you pay every single month. There's some that are fixed, which every month there's the same amount, and some that are variable, meaning it varies. The word vary comes out of variable. Like eating out. 1 month you eat out a lot because you're feeling hungry. The other month, I'm not as lazy. I'll cook at home more often. So it's more variable. Or your transportation. You drove more, whatever. So fixed and variable expenses. Calculate how much you spend every month, and for the next 6 months, try to save that amount or however long it takes you. Once you have that down, you're already one step closer to buying your first rental property. The second step, I would say, in buying your first rental property is getting connected with a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. Let me say that one more time. HUD-approved housing counseling agency. Agency. It sounds like a long word. It sounds like a lot. Like, whoa, what is that? Because the first thing people do.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the first thing people do after they have their money saved up and they start, getting ready to look at homes is they go to a real estate agent or they go start looking at houses or they go apply for a loan, a mortgage, a home loan. No, don't do that. Go to this agency. This is a government agency that their number one key or purpose is to help you, me, everyone buy a house. And they connect you to resources, down payment assistance programs. They connect you to all these resources that they have everything in-house. A lot of times they have their own real estate agents, their own lenders, their own counselors, their own credit people.
Convenient.
Everything. Yeah, it's super convenient. Not many people know about it. And they say, go talk to a good real estate agent. Go to this or that. No. Have your emergency fund saved up. That means you're going to have a budget. And the next step is go to this HUD-approved housing agency. Because what they do is they'll sit down with you. It's like a counseling session, and they will counsel you through the whole process. Buying the house, saving up for the house, fixing your credit if your credit is not good enough for the house, everything. There's this one organization I was on the phone with because they have a $50,000 grant, up to $50,000 for you to use towards the down payment. And they told me, hey, Josh, next time you have a family, tell them to come to me before they even start looking at houses, because we have our own real estate agents, we have our own lenders, we have everything. It's like all in one.
So these agencies are for any properties that you want to buy or for just investment properties?
Their main purpose is for people to buy a single family home, but there's some people that they'll buy an investment property where it's owner occupied. Most people, that's what they do in their first house. And what that means is, let's say you got a duplex where you have to live in there. in order for you to get that loan. Maybe it's an FHA, conventional, whatever. But you have to, it's an owner occupied home where you have to live in there. And they'll help you because a lot of people, their first home is a duplex. Because nowadays, especially in California, it's very common that you buy a house that maybe it's a duplex or maybe it's a house that has an ADU in the back. That's not necessarily a duplex, but it's still an additional dwelling unit where you can make money off of it, or you could live in that unit and rent the front house, right? Whatever you end up doing, whatever decision you end up making. But yeah, there's a lot. I think the best thing is to go one of these agencies because they'll help you. Because a lot of people think they're ready to buy a house, but they're not. Their credit's bad. They don't have enough saved up. Their income's not good enough yet. So this is going to be like a reality check for you. Then after that, obviously the next step is trying to find properties and with your real estate agent and seeing what's the best, product for you. For example, FHA loan. FHA stands for the Federal Housing Administration, which is basically a home loan. Now, here in California, you can get a fourplex, which means it's 4 different units. So your traditional house is just one house. But in here, it shows that you can, in high cost areas, we're in Los Angeles area, Los Angeles County, Orange County, different places where it's high cost. You can get a loan of up to $2 million for up to 4 units. Now, if it's 3 units, it's 1.6. If it's 2 units, it's 1.3, and so on and so on. What does that mean is that you can get a loan for $2 million for fourplex, where maybe you live in 1 unit and you rent out the other 3. And most of the times with FHA loans, you know how much you have to put down payment?
I don't know. How much?
Usually it's like anywhere from 3 to 5. Usually it's 3 to 5%. That's it. So when you do the quick math, 3% of $2 million is basically $60,000. For you to get into $2 million property with 4 units in it. That's not that crazy. I mean, I know families are getting a single family home for like $700,000 home. And with the down payment, the closing costs, the fixing, you're talking about almost $50,000. So it's not a crazy number.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not a crazy number. So me and my fiance, we want to get a house. We want to do something. So I want to show you guys on the screen an example of what we would do. So I did some quick research just so you guys can see visually. Like I told you, there's a lot of videos that explain a lot of things, but they don't show you guys. So let me show you an example. So we're here in the LA area in California. This is an example of a house, okay? It's not, it would be technically our first house. I found this house in the city of Long Beach. Long Beach is a really good city close to the beach. It's a pretty big city. It's a nice city. This house is, it looks like it's put for sale for $699. Let's just say $700,000 basically. It's a multi-family, so it has actually an additional unit. So it has a front house in the front. It's really nice. Look inside. It's a really nice house.
It's remodeled.
It's move-in ready basically. So that's the regular house, the front house. And when you go to the back, this is the backyard right here. There's an additional unit in the back. It's right here. It's a studio. So it's a smaller. This is how it looks. It's still nice. It's just a studio though, where it's smaller than the front house. It's only 1 bedroom, 1 bath. The front is a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. And in total, for 2 units, you're getting $700,000. Now,
whoa, that's pretty good.
That's a steal. That's a steal, honestly. I don't know how this house
for 2 units.
I don't know how it hasn't been sold. Let's say you put 5% down. 5% down of this house is roughly $35,000. You get a 30-year mortgage. And right now the interest rates are kind of high, but I know people that are getting 5% interest rates. Literally, I know someone that's getting that. Let's just say, right now the market is a little different. The interest rates are a little higher than usual, but usually 4 to 5% is pretty average or normal. So we'll put it at 4.5%. So this house with everything, this payment here includes principal and interest and insurance, so PMI, all of the above, $4,750. Now you have 2 options in this place for you to get this property. It's not that crazy. You don't need that much money to get in. I mean, all you really need is that $35,000 plus the closing costs. You're talking about like $50,000 because repairs, it doesn't look like it's gonna need any.
No,
but you never know.
Already.
You never know. And this money shouldn't be money that's your emergency fund. It should be extra from your emergency fund, right? It shouldn't take you too long to save. This is not a crazy amount. Now, $4,750 a month. It's almost $5,000. But if you have an additional unit, if you rent out that studio in Long Beach, I say like it's like $1,500. So now you dropped your payment down to only $3,250.
I would say more.
You could probably do more, maybe $1,500 plus utilities and all that, right? So But I'm just doing low end. Now you could do something crazy, that $4,750 payment that we see on the screen, and be like, I'm gonna live in the studio. Me and here are gonna live in the studio and rent out the front and rent it out for like
3,000.
3,000 easily.
Yeah.
Now we only have to pay $1,750. This is just an example. I think more people should consider this and getting their first home instead of being a single family, if possible. Which most, like, this is a perfect example that it's definitely doable. Most families would be able to afford this when there's two incomes, of course. It's a little harder with one, but when you have two incomes, like for example us, we would be able to afford this, especially because they consider the income from the extra unit added to your application when you apply for the loan. They use a percentage, usually 70 to 80% of that. But isn't that cool?
That's so cool.
This is an example of how you could possibly own a home for a duplex, essentially, where it has a unit in the back, a unit in the front, for only paying under $2,000 a month in Long Beach, a prime location close to the beach, a couple blocks from the beach. This is where the Olympics in 2026 is going to be held. So the value of this is going to go up a lot, definitely. So you're going to be winning on the equity, the income, and eventually you go and do it again. You rent out both units, it pays for all the mortgage, and you go and rent another property or something like that. So you just repeat the process. Now, it's not that easy. You got to deal with tenants. You got to save up the money, but it's possible. I know we'll be able to do it. I know you guys will be able too. So this is just a breakdown, a simple video. What do you think about that? You think it's possible?
Very possible.
Why?
And we recommend you to do that.
What does it seem like before you saw this? When someone talked about buying your first rental property, does it sound like something only like the rich people do or something, right?
Yeah, it sounds like only rich people can buy a duplex, because I know that duplexes are way more than a single home. But I didn't realize that we can rent out the other unit and essentially pay under $2,000.
If we live in the studio, yeah.
If we live in the studio.
Which I know she's not gonna want that. She'd want more space. But hey, sacrifice.
We'll think about it.
I know, a year or two of living in there, and then you're able to, do it all over again, right? So it's just, there's a lot of ways you can do it. I think the most important thing is you start. And there's a lot of resources. Reach out to us if you have more questions, because we have those resources like that agency, the HUD approved counseling agency, because they will connect you to all the resources. Maybe you don't want to buy a rental property, you just want to buy a single family home. Well, they're the people for you as well, especially for you.
Yeah.
So very, very important that you take consideration of these resources. And let us know if you have any comments or questions on how to buy your first rental property. And we'll check in with you once we do it. It's probably going to be until like a year after we get married, which we're getting married in a couple months.
So a year and a half from now.
Probably like a year and a half from now. So we'll look to do a video where we take you through our process and how we were able to do it. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.
Bye.